Hello, this is Ashton's Rants, episode 16, and today I'm going to talk to you about leaving situations that aren't working for you. So as I've already discussed, and as you probably already know, in the music industry, you're going to have a lot of different partnerships. You're going to have maybe a label if you're lucky enough, or maybe unlucky enough, possibly a manager, a lot of different collaborators, whether it be producers, musicians, songwriters. It's endless how many people you can end up working with. And it's important to always evaluate those relationships and make sure that they're still working for you and that you're in them for the right reason. And I'll give you a few examples of times when maybe I wasn't in the best situations. When I first started my career, I was lucky enough to work with someone, and we did some demos, and we ended up getting this person signed to a major label in the States, which is, especially when you're from Canada, that's a big deal anywhere, but it was a really, really big deal. And as a result, I ended up getting a publishing deal with one of the top 4 music labels / publishers in the country. And at the time, I'd worked so hard specifically for that goal. So to achieve it, it was just like I was through the moon. I just felt like I won the lottery of life, basically. And then as time progressed, I just kind of started realizing not a lot was going on. And I would call them and it was just like, oh, it always just seemed to be waiting, and when you're in your early 20s, that's the last thing you want to be doing. That's the last thing I want to be doing right now is waiting on stuff. I want to just kind of get going and just start working on some stuff. And then I found there was a lot of other writers that were kind of honing in on my some of my stuff, but I wasn't getting anything. It wasn't reciprocal, and it just really didn't seem to be working. I think in retrospect, I look back and it seems like I was probably just a lottery ticket for the publisher, that on the off chance that this artist I was working with ended up really blowing up big, it would pay off big, and then if it didn't, then nothing was really going to happen with me. So you can imagine though that I was, we're all looking for legitimacy when we're in the industry, and there's nothing more legitimate than being signed to a huge label or a publisher or something. And it was really, really hard to realize, this isn't really working out for me, and to leave. But at a certain point, for me to move forward, it was essential, and that's what I ended up doing. Another example would be I work in the studio with a lot of different people, and one thing that the reason I say you should analyze these relationships is that sometimes they work and then they don't. Maybe they start working again. But always kind of analyze and go, just because we did this and this and this, now we haven't really done anything great for a while, and maybe I should think about moving on. And that's not an indictment on anybody in particular. It's just sometimes that magic kind of disappears. Maybe you'll get it back if you work with someone else, and then you come back and then it starts working again. But I find that often artists are actually kind of afraid to leave a comfortable situation, especially because it takes so long to get those comfortable situations. But sometimes it's important to do that just to grow as an artist. The same can be said with managers. Managers are often say, hockey coaches, where, it's not like the person was a bad manager, but maybe they're steering you in a direction that you're not comfortable with, or maybe they're not really opening up a lot of opportunities for you anymore because they've kind of used up their capital in the industry to get you to as far as they could get you to go. And maybe it's time to end up exploring other options. So there's a couple examples in my career. And I just encourage you to evaluate everything that's happening in your career and making sure that it's still working for you to move yourself forward.